My name is Pushpendra Mehta. I write articles for CTMfile.com, which is a part of the Treasury News Network, and also host the Open Treasury podcast. Geopolitical conflict, trade wars, and climate change, among other factors, may lead to supply chain disruptions in 2023. To help CFOs and corporate treasury deal with these disruptions, I wrote an article on CTMfile.com that offers 4 ways to deal with these disruptions and turn supply chain challenges into a competitive advantage. In this video, I will summarize the 4 ways to do so. Please watch and share this video, subscribe and listen to the Open Treasury podcast, and read articles and content on CTMfile.com. Thank you. Let me now summarize the 4 ways to turn supply chain disruptions into a competitive advantage. Let's start with the first recommendation, which is about reshoring, nearshoring, and friendshoring. In other words, China's loss is its Asian neighbor's gain. The China-US trade war, China's COVID shutdowns, and escalating tensions between China and Taiwan have resulted in more companies and countries seeking alternatives to the world's factory, China, and relocating their manufacturing supply chains. More than half of US businesses in China say that their first choice for relocation will be other countries in Asia. Less than a quarter say back home. Less than a fifth say Mexico or Canada. These decisions are guided by all manner of risks and costs, but a central advantage of Asia outside China is wages, observed Ruchir Sharma, contributing editor at the Financial Times and chair of Rockefeller International, in his recently published article in Financial Times. In the US, there is talk of manufacturing coming back home or moving next door to Mexico, but the big winners so far are next door to China. These are Vietnam, Taiwan, India, and South Korea, Sharma explained. As per a news story published on CTMfile in January of this year, multinational corporations are redrawing their supply chains to hedge against risk and uncertainty by diversifying their supply chains away from China. India, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, and Bangladesh are stepping up to replace the world's factory, as reported in a recent article in the Business Insider South African website, which means that China may be losing its manufacturing and export market share in key sectors to its Asian neighbors. Geographical diversification of supply chains to reduce dependency on China as a market and as a supplier is recommended. And this will mean that more business leaders, corporate treasurers, and finance chiefs would need to build reshoring, nearshoring, and friendshoring relationships to create a more efficient and secure supply network. Reshoring is bringing manufacturing back home, nearshoring is moving production closer to home, and friendshoring is shifting manufacturing and sourcing toward allies or friendly countries. Corporations and their treasury departments that will implement dual or multiple sourcing strategies for critical materials and move towards an amalgam of reshoring, nearshoring, and friendshoring in their pursuit of self-sufficiency may boost supply chain resilience and become more likely to avoid supply chain snarls and challenges in 2023 and beyond. The second recommendation to turn supply chain challenges into a competitive advantage is to mitigate cybersecurity risks in supply chain. Supply chain cyber attacks, also known as third-party or value chain attacks, surged in 2022 and became the center of conversations with finance, treasury, and information security professionals. The Okta breach, the GitHub OAuth tokens attack, the Magento vendor Fishpig malware hack, and the compromised AccessPress plugins and themes were some of the most noteworthy supply chain attacks last year. In 2023, cybercriminals are likely to adopt more sophisticated techniques to exploit vulnerabilities in an organization's supply chain network. Cybercriminals know that attacks on an organization's supply chain network have ripple effects. The inherent global nature of a supplier network that connects software, employees, customers, suppliers, vendors, and other third parties increases the possibility that one business and digital supply chain cyber attack can leave countless organizations vulnerable to fraud. In essence, a single comprised supplier or third-party vendor can result in attacks on hundreds of thousands of companies around the world. In uncertain economic and political times, we advocate for corporate treasury to perform cybersecurity due diligence of all tiers of a company's supplier network to minimize the risk of supply chain cyber attacks. Many corporations focus primarily on tier 1 suppliers. However, given that supply chain cybercrimes are an enduring threat for enterprises, it is becoming increasingly important for companies to assess the cybersecurity hygiene of their tier 2 vendors and beyond to mitigate the impact of supply chain cyber attacks. In this connection, conducting a cyber risk assessment prior to onboarding a new vendor or giving a third party access to business critical systems is of critical importance. In addition, it is equally important to foster greater collaboration and relationship cooperation among all stakeholders in the supply chain when safeguarding devices, networks, people, and organizations. Supply chains are at the heart of global trade, and enhancing employee training and leveraging emerging technologies to identify and monitor supply chain vulnerabilities on a continuous basis is necessary, as is the ability to react promptly and effectively when a major disruption happens. As the supply chain cybersecurity risk management space is still evolving, a preventative and recommended measure that corporations can embrace to mitigate supply chain attacks is to assume that no user or third party can be trusted. That means adopting a zero trust security approach into the supply chain security environment, as zero trust requires validation at every stage and restricts user access only to specific systems that are assigned to them. It prevents cyber hackers from moving laterally through the network and causing more damage. This can help reduce or eliminate supply chain cyber attacks. The third recommendation is to move from just in time to just in case. In 2022, supply chain bottlenecks affected corporations in all industries, most notably healthcare, automotive, consumer packaged goods, oil and gas. In the wake of continual supply chain disruptions experienced over the past 2 years, nearly half of the respondents in the 2022 Global Finance Trend Survey report by Protiviti said that their organizations are moving from efficiency-based supply chain models to revenue assurance models that emphasize flexibility and resilience. The survey found that organizations in healthcare, oil and gas, and retail industries are more likely to ditch efficient supply chain models for revenue assurance models. For decades, companies relied on just-in-time manufacturing to keep the production process flowing because it emphasized keeping inventory to a minimum. It is time for many to shift from just-in-time production to just-in-case inventory, stockpiling or increasing inventory for key parts or materials on hand and engaging with multiple suppliers. In essence, just-in-case stock management ensures that corporations have adequate inventory or a buffer for any unexpected demand or unforeseen circumstances so that they are not left in the lurch should global supply chains worsen again. Given the possibility of commodity price and availability fluctuations, cracks in global economic interdependency, and the continual snags in global supply chains that may result in limited access to spare parts and maintenance items, or even shortages in critical raw materials or inputs for manufacturing companies, they must consider shifting focus more to the importance of supply chain resilience, reliability, and responsiveness over prioritizing costs and maximizing profits here and now. The fourth recommendation is to accelerate investment in big data analytics, automation, and technology. This year, one focal area of corporate supply chain management will be prioritize investment in big data analytics, automation, and technology. According to KPMG's Supply Chain Trends Shaking Up 2023 Insights, it is important to adapt real-time data analytics to enhance accuracy of predictions and forecasts of demand volatility and stream these insights into your sales and operations execution framework to protect against material access issues and combat future disruptions. In addition, given that more companies are incorporating ESG into more sourcing decisions, capturing real-time operational data along your supply chain for measurement and reporting of ESG matters will help you make informed decisions to reduce Scope 3 emissions as per KPMG's Supply Chain Trends Insights. Investing in automation that includes automated warehousing and drones can help corporations replace routine manual supply chain tasks and activities, improve safety for employees, boost productivity, and protect against margin squeezes. Furthermore, corporate treasury should extend supply chain visibility by leaning towards sophisticated tools and technology that can provide better or enhanced end-to-end visibility among their thousands of interconnected suppliers worldwide. Organizations that harness the power of big data analytics, automation, and technology solutions will benefit from synchronized planning and execution, greater visibility and efficiency, and real-time business intelligence. To conclude, diversifying supply chains to multiple sources and regions, building active relationships, and improving communications that help suppliers across the value chain to partner together effectively enables businesses to deliver on a range of objectives: operational, financial, regulatory, ESG, and cyber or geopolitical risk mitigation. While disruptions to global supply chains are likely to persist this year, corporations and their treasury departments that take the lead on the 4 critical areas noted in this video summary will not only be able to build a more agile, capable, and flexible supply chain system, but will also benefit from a more sustainable, reliable, risk-resilient, and forward-thinking supply chain that will help them gain competitive advantage in an unpredictable and complex world. Thank you.